Well, good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's All in Crypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another daily cryptocurrency market update. And if you are new around here, every single day at 1 p.m., we release an update just like this one to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the markets at large. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. We are going to start the video off with a clip from Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, actually talking about Bitcoin and expressing his inquisitive nature towards it and the fact that he believes Bitcoin could go to $100,000. Then we're going to look at two ex-BlackRock directors saying that they believe a spot ETF is within a 3 to 6 month window. Then we'll dive into a little bit of price action. It's very, very boring, unfortunately. But this is part of markets. You know, it's not all sunshine. You do have to endure the rain. And I believe you'll be rewarded for it. So we'll be looking at that. We'll be looking at some boring macroeconomic data. Obviously, yesterday you had ADPs, which came out pretty horrifically below expectations. However, I've spoken to a lot of economists on the back end of this. Anybody can be an economist, just means you have an opinion, by the way. And we've really found that out having to dive into economics as crypto investors to try and help ourselves figure out what's going on the bigger time frames. You know, crypto is plankton in regards to the sort of market food chain. But a lot of people have said actually ADPs are not a reflection of what the big number is going to be, which is the non-farm payroll, which of course is going to anchor markets and potentially the economy depending on what comes out. We've also got news of Metro Bank shares plunge 50%, so more banks in trouble, obviously on the back end of the bond market and what that's doing, casting uncertainty to everything. That's the head of your food chain. Then we'll look at what's next for the economy. And then I think we'll wrap the video up. So it's very lackluster, unfortunately. There's really not a lot of news across the board. However, we are going to be diving straight into this clip of Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, actually talking about Bitcoin and crypto in a little bit more detail and where he thinks it's heading.
The founders that started it pull off some millions of dollars right away from investors that say, I want to get in quick and early when it's young because it's going to grow like Bitcoin. I'll make $1 billion out of pennies. And they jump in and then it goes to zero. That's the common story. It's not the only story. There's some others that have made it for a while for some good reasons. Yeah, so I'm kind of NFTs fall into that category too. The number of people getting ripped off on crypto and NFTs is just outrageous. Now Bitcoin is safe because it's the big elephant on the block. It's stable.
Right.
I like conservative thinking. You go for the big ones and they'll be around. And yeah, Bitcoin is
So you
stable. So I don't invest.
You don't invest.
I have never invested in stock in my life. I've never used Apple's stock app on the iPhone. Never. Because why? It goes to my happiness formula. I found that my head gets to a peaceful spot where it's not worrying about everything being up and down, up and down, up and down like day traders. I had day traders around me and I watched what they went through and I just turn the other way. I don't read any financial papers. I don't want to be, I don't want that to affect my life. So I never invested in stocks. Bitcoin, I bought a bunch of Bitcoin at the start to say, how do you play with this new thing? How do you buy something online? And I conquered that. And how do you buy things in other countries? And how would you even pay for like a donut in another country? Mm-hmm. How can you find an ATM that works on your Bitcoin? And I wanted to experiment and learn it all. And then Bitcoin went way up. Well, I got scared and I sold all my Bitcoin except one Bitcoin. That's not my purpose, is to have enough to play with and experiment with, but not to make money on. And 2 times it's gone way up and made money. And just recently, I think Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000. I just, I don't know where you get that feeling. I can't put any mathematics to it. I just really feel it from all of the interest. Mm-hmm. The interest in crypto is so high. And so I put a bunch of money into an online wallet account, Coinbase, and pretty much it's sitting right where it was right now. Went way up, it doubled, and then it halved again, and but that's not my way in life. That's not important to me.
I love Steve, such a humble guy, and such an important guy in the kind of landscape that we are in regards to where the world is currently at and the digitalization of things. Very interesting, his inquisitive nature. He mentions being able to send things globally, to buy things globally, and that he really enjoyed playing around with it. And that's actually how I came to crypto, was And I won't go into the story because it's quite taboo and kind of against, we're trying to move away from that. But in the early days, you know, there was a real use case for Bitcoin that's very tabooed, that, you know, really showcased the capabilities of it. And that hasn't gone away. You know, Bitcoin is, and Larry Fink himself said, transcending currencies because of its global nature. And actually, we're going to transcend any one country with these operating systems, these smart contract distributed ledgers that are now at the forefront of where we're at. Very interesting on his prediction of 100K. Let's move on. You've got the ex-BlackRock directors says SEC will approve a Bitcoin spot ETF in 3 to 6 months. Two former managing directors at BlackRock say US approval of a Bitcoin spot ETF is basically a done deal. I believe so. They're approving futures, they're approving leverage futures, they're approving Ethereum futures. You will have, I believe, eventually a basket of cryptos, just like you've got the S&P, which is an index. You know, that's going to come in a spot form eventually. We've got a path of regulatory nightmare to get there. SEC's done a very poor job, but almost a deliberate one in regards to them stalling to put things in place and rein everybody in. You know, I believe they pushed back on Coinbase recently. He also mentions that he holds with Coinbase. We think Coinbase is going to be a gorilla in the stock market room. I don't want to be too moon boy, but I see Coinbase in the multiple hundreds, if not thousands, in years to come. And that's just my own prediction. On to a little bit of market action. I mean, sometimes it's quite hard to cover the markets daily when you're just getting this. And we're still in that indecision phase. These are not nice candles. It's a very obvious area of rejection that we had highlighted. Actually, not only was it an area of resistance that we had expected, it was our inverse head and shoulders target. And you can see Bitcoin maybe taking another stab, but maybe you've got another one of these present. I don't like to... I'm not a big fan of technical patterns on small time frames. That's not my game. However, you know, you could be looking at another run for Bitcoin, and then maybe it sets up for kind of a little bit of a broader move wherever it gets to. We'll see. But all speculation. Obviously, right now with the crypto space, it is unfortunately, and people get annoyed with me saying this, that paper bag in the wind being the macro situation, which is ever changing, you know, and there's lots of forecasts. Our overarching thesis on the markets is that the S&P rallies within 2% of 2 months of a recession. So the markets will rally pretty much right up into a recession, and then things will start to get priced in. Where that recession hits, we've got indicators. We know that rate hikes lag. We also know that the recession typically doesn't occur until the yield curve is inverted. But there has been a lot of progress on that in regards to the yield curve inverted. Let me just pull that up, because I think it's quite important. You know, if we're going to say this stuff, we should be able to technically show you what we're talking about. Yield curves been making some, and this is a daily time frame, which isn't going to give us much. And we're going to get this off log. Some real moves up, and the recession happens, you know, starts when it's uninverted. So there is progress towards that. You've still got a bit of time, we believe, and we think the markets can do well. We've got higher targets for the S&P and such. They had a bit of relief yesterday on bonds kind of picking their feet up somewhat. We've never had a retest from this stage 2 entering. You know, this is, in our opinion, now broken out, and we expect higher prices. And it's came out of its stage 1. But so I don't want to get too much into the kind of macro of things, but basically markets had a bit of a rest yesterday. Obviously on the back end of the dollar having a bit of a rest, and of course bonds getting a tiny irrelevant bid. You know, housing also slightly up, which is a very interest rate sensitive market, but housing could have broke and is looking weak in our opinion. Whether it sets up and fixes itself is still to be seen, and it's all going to depend on data. Yesterday you had ADPs that came up massively below in terms of job openings. Sorry, not job openings, that was JOLTS, which actually came out quite well. ADPs came out obviously significantly lower. The forecasted was 154,000. It came out 89. So with obviously unemployment claims coming in today, they're expected to be on the rise from last time. The real one is, of course, non-farm payroll. And it's all about trying to work out what's happening. Just to go back into the macro a little bit, you know, you are going to have stress. We looked at Robert Kiyosaki's comments of 700 and something banks on death's watch. The Fed will have to step in at some point, okay? Because the debt market is probably more important than any other market in the sense that it's the bedrock of economics, you know, finance, I should say, probably more so than economics. And that is their system that they have to protect. And with the Treasury issuing a hell of a lot of debt, China dumping, no one buying it, at what point do they step in? And at what point they step in is going to determine soft, hard, or no landing. Do they have to step in because something's broken? You see a lot of banks, you capitulation, you see something like 2008, and then they have to step in as a result of that, hard landing. Do they get everything under control and then they start to forecast things out? And then that's that kind of no landing scenario where you get that natural sort of coming about to the bond market. You know, this is a 2024 projection. What's next for the US economy? Despite slow and go, federal staff are no longer forecasting a recession due to the economy's resilience. And it has been resilient. This is the lagged effect of rates that we've been talking about. This is fundamentally why we've been on the right side of the market in 2023, and we were for 2022. Most of it we got out, I think, later than quite a few of the people that claim they sold the 64 or 69k top. We know that that's nonsense. If you look at the volume that actually traded up there, it was minuscule. Anyway, people can claim whatever they want. You know, there's this lagged effect of rates, and we think Jamie Dimon, lots of people, JP Morgan saying, okay, look, you're in a 2007 period. The markets will rally into a 2008. And that's still what we think is to come. You could essentially, depending on how things play out, have a full bull market until a recession hits. That's a scenario. It's an ever-changing scenario that we've got to watch. But going back to this, the estimated US recession probability in the next 12 months, yield curve, economists, consumers, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and CEOs. So you can see it's quite a wide mix. This is sourced Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the Conference Board, so on and so forth. And you can see some of the expectations. So we'll see. In regards to crypto, it's really just going through this sort of a curve. Got peak of expectations, which was a bull market. You know, you had nearly $100 billion valuations on cryptos that didn't even have smart contracts or anything really going on tangible in terms of real world applications. Who knows where it's going to get to when all those real world applications come online and we start to get this show rocking and rolling once more. And crypto will turn around. It's just what path does it take to get there? You know, there's still the danger of a downside scenario, which is a deeper ABC, which is also an inverse, a right way up head and shoulders, and that would run you back down here. That's a risk that we've got to watch. We would be buyers of that, and you guys know that we've been long the market since here and out the market since here. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully you like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already. And we will see you all in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you in the next, and have a great day.